the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Wednesday, May 26th in the year 2021. It is so hard to believe this month is almost over. We're almost to the month of June, where recruiting is going to ramp up. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JStevens07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well at Locked On Buckeye. Lineup for today. In segment one, I'm going to open up the show discussing Pro Football Focus rankings for every single team that Ohio State plays this year. Segment two, big things coming. It's the first defensive player of the week. Who will we be highlighting? Stick around to find out. And then segment three, a little scheduling quirk that might affect the basketball team down the road. But before we get to all that, I want to remind you to make sure you check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast, because there's simply no better place to get all the news on the Big Ten Conference than with Big Ten Ben Stevens and the Locked On Big Ten podcast. Follow the Locked On Big Ten podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. Pro Football Focus on Tuesday released their rankings of all 130 FBS football teams, from number one Alabama all the way down to number 130, who was actually an opponent that Ohio State plays this year. They ranked every single team. And instead of just talking about and highlighting where Ohio State is, where they are in the pecking order with this ranking of all the top schools in the country, they did have a little bit of different data than most of your ranking systems that come out there via the networks, ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, things of that nature. Why not go ahead and look at every single ranking for every team that Ohio State's going to be playing, give you the ranking, and then basically see, well, how they stack up, what part of the schedule is a little bit more difficult than normal. We already know by the naked eye, but Pro Football Focus does a phenomenal job ranking teams, and this right here is going to help us see really what we think, if what we think is true based off their grading system. Ohio State, I'll go 10 through 1 just to amuse everybody, just to let everybody know what is going on, what their ranking is for this upcoming season. Number 10 via PFF, short abbreviation for Pro Football Focus, LSU. Number 9 is the Iowa Hawkeyes, and that one amazes me. This is not only the first, but I believe the second time that I have seen Iowa in the top 10 of anybody's rankings, and they both came out on Tuesday. So I'm really, really curious what they know about the Hawkeyes that maybe people that cover the team or people like us that are on the outside, still in the Big Ten, but don't follow them on a day-to-day basis, what they know that we don't know. Number 8, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Number 7, Florida Gators. Number 6, Texas A&M Aggies. I think they're going to be top 6 through 8 in everybody's rankings, especially when you get down to the beginning of the season, preseason rankings. I believe they're going to be a top 8 team in the country based on the talent they have down there in Texas A&M. Number 5, Oklahoma Sooners. Number 4, Georgia Bulldogs. Number 3, your Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 2, Clemson Tigers. Number 1, Alabama Crimson Tide. Via PFF, they did give probability for the national championship, the conference championship wins for both of those. They're the highest graded returning player. The highest graded returning player at Ohio State, left tackle Thayer Mumford at 85.2 on a scale of 100. Conference championship win probability for Ohio State, 48%. National championship win probability, 13%. Just to give you a little heads up about what the top 2 teams are. National championship win probability for Clemson, 17%. And then for Alabama, national championship win probability, 23%. Here are the rankings for every single Ohio State opponent that they're playing this season. We'll go from week 1 to Minnesota all the way down to week 13 to the team up north. Week 1 on the road at Minnesota. PFF ranking, number 38. Oregon, week 2 at home. PFF ranking, number 13. Week 3 at home against Tulsa. PFF ranking, number 58. Week 4, the Akron Zips. They are the worst team. The worst team that on via PFF at number 130. Week 5 on the road at Rutgers, number 108. At home the following week against Maryland, number 56. By week 7, week 8 on the road at Indiana, number 24. Penn State next week at home, number 19. On the road at Nebraska, number 51. Purdue, number 80. Michigan State, number 70. And then out on the road, I almost said at home, on the road against the team up north, the final game of the season, regular season game, number 25. So you're playing the number 130 team and the number 108 team in back-to-back weeks, in weeks 4 and then week 5. After your bye week, you play 2 teams in the top 25 on the road at Indiana and at home against Penn State. The Indiana game is very, very interesting because I don't know the status or the health or how good Michael Penix Jr. will play this year. I know that team rides and somewhat dies on the success that he has on the field. And as good as he has shown, I am not very high on him myself. I think that he has shown flashes of good things. I think he has shown on the occasion to be a decent quarterback. But if you want to put him if you try to rank him and say there's tiers, tier 1 is the elite of the elite, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. I think Michael Penix Jr. is maybe barely tier 2, maybe tier 3. I mean, he's very athletic, but his arm is not the arm you want for a guy that's a tier 2 quarterback. I don't want to get a lot of heat, a lot of slack for that. But if you go back and watch the games, there's a lot of the things that he does that don't wow you. His athletic ability in today's college football, it will make your eyes pop out of your head at times based off how athletic he is and how he can move around the field. But I really don't think he's as good as advertised. That was something I knew last year. Opening game, Ohio State's schedule is really easy when you look at it, not just the rankings. I mean, they only play 1, 2, 3, 4. They play 5 away games. They play no away games back-to-back weeks. They play 3 home games in a row: Oregon, Tulsa, Akron, and then they play Purdue and Michigan State back-to-back weeks as well. The schedule isn't that hard, but just looking at the ranking, doesn't really hit that hard. And the average ranking for Ohio State opponent this year is 56. Doesn't seem like their schedule is really that difficult. But that's what PFF says. Kind of confirms a lot of what we think. But Akron 130, that should be a beatdown, an absolute denomination. Week number 4. Let's step away very, very quickly. When we come back, we continue our Big Things Coming series highlighting certain players. Today, first defensive player. Who is it? Stick around to find out. But first, check this out. Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck. Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients, Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors as well: cherry ice, citrus, and mint. Lucy lozenges and gums are FSA and HSA eligible, so you can use your FSA cards to purchase Lucy now. And it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym. It's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple, and you don't have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down. Locked On College Network listeners, that is you. Go to lucy.co and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, to get 20% off all products on your first order, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, at checkout. You have heard me talk about Built Bar literally since I took over this show in October. But did you know that Built Bar Built Bar has 9 delicious flavors. When you talk to a Built Bar fan, they're definitely passionate about their favorite flavors. I mean, we like something, it's our favorite. We tell people about it, and occasionally a tad passionate as well. If you don't know the Built Bar flavors, some of them are coconut almond, cherry, mint brownie, and even salted caramel. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy as well. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, high fiber, and I mentioned some flavors earlier. But there are also some other flavors, and if you order today, you could get raspberry or mint brownie or whatever you like. Trust me, there's so many flavors. They have special editions. They have some that come around seasonally, and they're so good. So make sure you go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off your next order. Once again, go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off your next order at BuiltBar.com. And as we roll on here on Locked on Buckeyes on this Wednesday Hump Day show, I want to remind you to make sure you subscribe to Locked on Buckeyes so you don't miss a beat. Locked on Buckeyes drops a fresh new episode for you every Monday through Friday. The audio version, Apple Podcast, Spotify, the Odyssey app. I understand that Apple and Spotify sometimes have not been updated things properly. My own personal podcast, the Jay Stevens podcast, that episode on Monday got delayed getting uploaded. So if Apple and Spotify are a little wacky, check out the Odyssey app. It's free and easy to use. Also, youtube.com/lockedonbuckeyes as well. Also, wkyc.com. So many phenomenal ways to stay up to date on your Ohio State Buckeyes via Locked on Buckeyes. Big things coming. On Monday, we had a running back in Marcus Crowley. Almost forgot his name. I don't know how I did that. Yesterday, Jeremy Ruckert. Today, we're not going to the trenches. And as I am a guy that likes to go in the trenches, the offensive and defensive line, to really talk about what goes on inside there. Today is about the man in the back half of the secondary, Joshua Proctor. Many people remember Joshua Proctor. I don't know why I use the government name, but it just came out of my mouth. We all remember Josh Proctor when he committed to Ohio State, I believe in April of 2017, the 4-star recruit from the state of Oklahoma. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement, believing that he could be that safety at some point, that starter that Ohio State had been looking for, that they're looking for. They want that guy, that single high safety that can control and roam and really read and react and use his eyes to read and sometimes dictate what the quarterback does so the quarterback cannot get comfortable. And to date, we have seen Josh Proctor show some flashes of good play. But I don't think he's been able to be on the field consistently just yet because of a couple of things. One, I've heard in practice that things weren't really – sometimes in practice he wasn't playing the best, and they were trying to really challenge him and say, hey, Josh, we know you can do this, but you're not doing it right now, so we're going to have to be a little bit harder on you and coach you a little bit. Remember in the basketball season, we talked about Dwayne Washington Jr. and his relationship with Chris Holtmann. We talked about how Chris Holtmann was able to coach Junior hard. I mean, really, really hard. And Junior responded to it. Kind of the same type of approach with Proctor, but I do believe going into last season, I expected Proctor to start. I expected Proctor to be the individual, to be the player, to start that single high safety, to be the one to come in right after Jordan Fuller and play that position very, very well. Maybe not the same way that Fuller did in 2019 because that was at an exceptional level, something that we'll be talking about for a very, very, very long time. But first-year starter, I was thinking, okay, cool, like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine back there. He will be A-okay. However, he did not start last year. Now, he did get on the field due to some injuries, and I believe due to the Rona. He did get on the field, show some flashes of what he could do. With his 6'2", 202-pound frame, that's coming from sportsreference.com, I think we're going to see the best, the absolute best from Joshua Proctor. To date on his career, looking at the numbers that he has had on the season or in his career, stats-wise, you're going to say, Jay, his stats aren't really sexy. His stats don't pop out. Last year, 20 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 interception. On his career, 34 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, 4 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery. He had 3 pass breakups in 2019, 1 pass breakup in 2020, just last season. He did end up playing 9 games in 2019 and then 7 games just last year. But last year he did end up getting a lot more run, a lot more play at the end of the season. Let me say, Jay, why in the world do you think of Joshua Proctor? I mean, that back half, we like Lathan Ransom, but will he be the hybrid? Will he be that slot corner? Where will Lathan Ransom be? I don't know, but I do think that Joshua Proctor will be the guy in the back part of the secondary. And it goes to the reps and practice in the spring. We can find a lot of things that happen in the spring that will kind of be very, very telling about things that happen down the road. Now, you may say, Jay, what did you – now, we saw the spring game. How does the spring game correlate quarterback-wise to the starting quarterback position? A lot, but not really a lot. I mean, you can tell a little bit, but that competition isn't done yet. That competition is nowhere close to being over, and I think Ryan Day knows that. The coaches know that. I mean, there's so much that goes into that. That competition is not done. But I do believe if Kerry Coombs, the new secondary coach, I believe Barnes and Ryan Day, if they didn't trust Joshua Proctor to play a position that Ryan Day wants his team to run on defense. Yes, Day is a quarterback and offensive coach, but he also has very, very good details, and he has very good eyes for what he wants his defense to look like as well. I think we're going to see Joshua Proctor be the best and be better. Not the best. Be better than a lot of people think this year. You're going to have a guy in 7 banks on one side. You're going to have another individual on the other side of the field, outside corner. They're going to be really aided by the play of Joshua Proctor this year. And last but not least, I mentioned Jordan Fuller earlier. Joshua Proctor, full-time starter. He got to see the play, the exceptional play of Jordan Fuller in 2019. He could go back and look at Fuller's film and say, he did this. What can I take from his game, implement it into my game, and help me be the best I can be? A phone call, a text, film study via the Zoom. So many ways that Fuller can assist Proctor to be the best Proctor has been at Ohio State. Step away very quickly. When we come back, we will wrap up today's show talking about a little scheduling in college basketball. But first, check this out. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all the action at BetOnline. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting news, including MLB, NBA, NHL, and all your UFC/MMA action. Before the next pitch, head over to BetOnline on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device. And when you sign up today, make sure you use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sports book experts. And as we roll on and wrap up today's episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, right here on or part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. John Rothstein, phenomenal individual that covers the college basketball landscape, and he does it at a high level consistently. John Rothstein had a tweet that came out. It is timestamped at 11:54 a.m. on May 25th. And in this tweet that came out, I was looking at it, reading it, kind of confused maybe about what was going on, what the coaches were thinking at the mid-major level, because this will affect what's here, some possible future opponents that Ohio State might play on the basketball court. Here's a tweet verbatim from John Rothstein. Quote, sources, multiple mid-major programs are opting to not play guarantee games against high major programs because it gives power conference teams a free live evaluation of future players who could move up via the transfer portal. The level of separation has never been greater, end quote. Okay, couple things to unpack here. This makes no sense absolutely at all. Makes none. That's the first thought that I had. It makes no sense. I mean, okay. I want to be very, very delicate. I'm not going to be delicate. I'm just going to walk you through my mindset on how I view what he just said. So I'm a mid-major coach. You can pick any school. I'm a mid-major coach. And I'm worried about, say, Ohio State or Purdue or North Carolina or Duke or Kansas or Kentucky or Louisville. I'm worried about these schools getting a live evaluation while I'm playing them. Okay? I mean, that's a fair thought. The transfer portal is at an all-time high. Players want to move around whatever they want to. Oh, I don't like the strength and conditioning coordinator. I'm gone. Oh, that guy said something bad to me. Or was it just coaching? Yeah, but he said something bad to me. He said something I didn't like. I'm gone. These are legit scenarios why guys are leaving. So, back to the quote. So there are guys, coaches that don't like at the mid-major level. Oh, we may provide a major coach a way to evaluate my guy live right in front of him, and I don't like that. So, well, no, I don't want to play you. Okay, cool. Okay, great. So here's a couple things that come to my mind when I'm reading this thing that make sure this don't make any sense. Okay, cool. Number one, they're going to move no matter what. So no matter if you're playing the high mid-major or you're not playing the high mid-major, they're going to leave no matter what. They can literally just be using you as a stepping stone. Sometimes coaches do that as well. They kind of walk on this path and say, okay, go. I was at the D3 level. I skipped the D2 level. Let's go low end D1, mid-major. Okay, cool. I got that as an assistant. Didn't get to go to head coach right away, but I went to an assistant, and then I got promoted to a head coach at that same school. That school had some success in the NC2A tournament. But all of a sudden, they get me a high major coaching job, kind of walking the trail, kind of walking that line. Okay, cool. Kind of how coaches are. Those players, they might use that mid-major as the same thing. Oh, I'm going to start here and then transfer up. Okay. That's going to happen no matter what. So no matter if you play them and if you don't play them, they're going to end up moving no matter what. And it may end up going to the school that you canceled, didn't want to play because of this very reason. They're like, dude, I was already thinking about going there anyway. I only came here because they didn't offer me yet. You offered me. I had to prove myself at your school to get to that school. Real life scenarios. Here's another thing that came to my mind, and I'm going to end it with this because I could go on about this one here. You already are going to have these schools that hire scouts and hire private scouting agencies and companies to do live evaluations already. So if I'm a mid-major coach, I can't tell if there's a guy in the stands that's a scout for Ohio State, if I am Loyola Chicago, not really low in mid-major, but they are more of a mid-major school. So if I am any mid-major school, Chris Holtman, the program, basketball program that hire a private agency to go around and scout, do live evaluations, maybe the coach might not get that live eval. There's going to be somebody getting that live evaluation. I understand you're not wanting the coach to be there, but you're saying via here, it gives power conference teams a free live evaluation. They're already getting the live evaluation. They got the live evaluation when the kid was in high school. They got the live evaluation on the AAU circuit, and they got the live evaluation as well right there while you're playing your home games because they're paying somebody to fly into your school, stay in a hotel, look like a regular person, not you're a scout, just look like a regular individual, going to enjoy a game. He's getting live evaluation of your player that you're worried about transferring to a major basketball program. I get it on the surface, a little nervous. Some people say, well, they might not get the checks from these schools. They're getting paid for the non-conference games that they play anyway, and they're getting paid for the conference games they play. They are still getting the checks. The checks might not be as large as they used to. And those that need those funds to really fund their school, they're not the ones that are going to mess around and not play these games. No. You're going to find the guys that they want the money. They need some. They'll just find other ways to get it. Come on, let's just be honest. If I want to get a live evaluation of somebody, or somebody to get a live eval report, yeah, I might not be the coach, but I'm going to find a way to get that thing done. Last year, I went to go look at a recruit. He was a junior in high school, played football here locally in Indiana. And I went to go watch the game, and when I picked that particular game, it was kind of colder outside. It was the atmosphere I wanted to be in because I hadn't been in that atmosphere in a while, but also, too, I wanted to get a live look at that individual. I could have watched the game on TV. I didn't want to watch the game on TV. I wanted to watch it live. But if I didn't want to watch, but if I didn't really have the means to do it at that time, I would have gone to a different game or found another way. If not that game, I would have found another game to do it. Let's just say that these coaches, these private firms, organizations, maybe the game they want to go watch they can't get to. They will get to it, but hypothetically, if they weren't able to, they'll find a way to get a live eval of that player. It just might not be from the coach. I get it. I understand it. This makes no sense, but it might affect future non-conference opponents where there might already be an opponent already scheduled. And they say, nah, we're not playing you. We know what your MO is. All right, we're done. We're done. That rant was not expected, but it came. It was fun. It was enjoyable. But now it's over, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can also send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. Come back tomorrow and Friday, continuing our big things coming little portion of the show we've been having where we're highlighting a certain player and why we can expect big things from him tomorrow. Not sure if it'll be defense or offense or specific what side we're going to, but come back tomorrow to find out who exactly we will be talking about. But in the meantime, today's show is over. Tomorrow's show is not here just yet. Make sure you check out and click over on your phone. As long as you're not driving, go to your app, your podcast app, search Locked On Today, and hit play, because that is a place to get all the sports news you need in under 20 minutes with the Locked On Today podcast. Host Peter Bukowski updates you on the latest news in every major sport with the help of our local experts. Follow the Locked On Today podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your fine podcast.